Welcome to Table Talk. I'm Kara and this is Jordan. And today we are going to be talking about Roman Polanski, his recent arrest, and then the absolutely shocking and really insane defenses of him in the mainstream media, which, Jordan, would you like to...
I mean, in case you haven't heard about this, Roman Polanski was arrested because he drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl, and then when he found out that he was going to actually have to do some time for doing this after pleading...
And register as a sex offender.
He fled the country to France and basically was like, oh, I don't want to take responsibility for this. So I think what's really important about this is that he systematically sort of plotted out giving this girl alcohol, even though she was 13 years old, then drugging her, then deciding to anally rape a middle schooler. And then when he got caught, he admitted to doing all of these things. And then when he got caught, he decided, you know, after they were going to plead down, they didn't want to go to rape because they didn't want to make this poor girl go through a whole trial. And, you know, he was going to have to say that he had sex with an underage person and endangered her. And when he found that too also meant that he would have to register as a sex offender, he decided to leave the country. That was just too much for him to take responsibility for.
So there's a couple of lines of defense that we've heard in the last couple of days. One is that he's very talented. Sure. That doesn't make it okay. Then there's also this idea that he's charming and personable, which I would like to point to Ted Bundy as an example of how these people are charming and personable. If you're seducing young women, which people are trying to say there isn't a pattern here, there's a well-documented pattern, then chances are you're charming and very personable. I
think what's going on here is that there's, you know, people are playing into this myth that somehow you could see a serial killer, that they'll be disturbing looking or not. But in fact, most people who prey on children are Roman Polanski. They are of comfortable money, if not money. They are older, they are straight identified men, and they are often white. And they look like Roman Polanski. So Roman Polanski is the epitome of a sexual predator, which when you prey on children like this, when you systematically go about taking down the defenses of a child like this, you're preying on children. Let's make no mistake about this. He preyed on a child to get a sexual advance that he wanted. And so, you know, the fact that he happens to be nice or you happen to like his film, you know, it doesn't make it excusable for what he did. And that's, I think, really what the outrage is that there's no question that he did these things. There's no question. He admitted to doing them. It's not like some prosecutor forced him or, you know, we have questions about the judicial system. He admitted to doing these things, and probably because of his money, probably because of his stature, and because there was this unfortunate girl who went through these things, they decided to just plead him down to whatever they could get him on just to put, you know, just to do something for this horrific thing that he took. And he couldn't even take responsibility for that.
Right. And there's two other important things that have come up as defenses that are absolutely unconscionable. So the first is that it happened a long time ago. Apparently
when you rape somebody a long time ago, that seems to be okay.
And are a fugitive from justice for 30 years.
And a fugitive for justice for 30 years. That somehow excuses raping a middle schooler.
And what it says is that not just his fame, but also his fortune should be a key factor in whether or not justice is served. Because what you know, 20-year-old who has consensual sex with his 17-year-old girlfriend could afford to skip bail to France, where he happened to have a dual citizenship. And
I think that's also really an important part here. He was 44 when he raped this middle schooler. You know, he wasn't a 20-year-old who was, you know, he wasn't a senior in high school who was having sex with his, you know, freshman high school girlfriend. I mean, what he did was, he as a 44-year-old, preyed on a child. This is clear sort of male predatory behavior. And the fact that so many people that you know are talented, like a Whoopi, I mean, a fellow black Jew, how dare you say, you know, rape is, you know, this wasn't rape.
Was not charged. I know it wasn't rape. There is a...
Which brings us to the last really, really, really heinous defense of this, which is that it was somehow consensual. Now, even taking out the drugs, the Quaaludes that he gave her, which she said that she didn't want.
The forcing of the drinking that she said she didn't want.
Right. Even taking out that, and even if she had said yes, which she testified very, very clearly that she said no many times, even faking an asthma attack to fend off his advances, even if all of those things were not true, the fact remains that she is 13, and him having sex with her, even on a so-called consensual basis, which would just mean that she said okay, which does not equal consent, he is a level 3 sex offender.
You know, and I think that that's really what's so offensive about some of the people who come to the defense. Another one is Joan Shore on the Huffington Post, sort of one of the most offensive sort of conversations around this.
Yeah, she was almost 14.
She was almost 14. I mean, that's just horrific to think that selling somebody
So there was only
almost
30 years between them instead of 31.
The idea that that somebody who's almost a freshman in high school but isn't is okay to consent to an adult is just beyond disgusting. I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's disgusting.
So Harvey Weinstein is touting this list of mostly directors. They've got Pedro Almodovar on there, not surprisingly, Woody Allen,
who we love.
Who I love. We have a giant poster of Woody Allen in the next room. Penelope Cruz, one of Pedro Almodovar's muses. Tilda Swinton. Tons of mostly directors, but also a lot of actors and actresses. A lot of French and American actors and actresses who are using their names to call for the Secretary of State, who, I'm sorry, has some more important things to do right now, to you know, call for this extradition to be called off. Because somehow there was some code of ethics of filmmaking violated here in that he was invited to Switzerland to accept this award and was intercepted at the airport and arrested on a long-standing extradition treaty.
And I think really what we really want to get at is, have you people lost your damn minds? Have you lost your damn mind? You are giving an award to a rapist of somebody in middle school, and then you have the nerve to ask people to stop it because of I don't know what. Because he's talented. Because you happen to like his films and you sort of agree with his politics. Although I can't imagine what that would be. You excuse it. Have you people lost your damn minds? There is never an excuse for raping a 13-year-old girl. For raping a child. You cannot rape a child, and you can't make excuses for it. Period.
And certainly fleeing justice for 30 years doesn't make it, it's not a get out of jail free card. Ultimately, what it comes down to is that the question of what is served here. Why do this now? Which is the question that so many people are asking. And I think it's to cement in place the fact that this is not okay. That it's never okay to forcibly have sex with anyone, and it's never okay for a fully grown adult to take advantage of a 13-year-old and force sex on them.
And fleeing from justice does not make it more okay because you've been able to flee justice for 30 years. It just makes it a sad statement that you can flee justice when doing something like this. It's horrific, and you know, the excuses are disgusting, and they all need to stop. And we should all be happy that a rapist has been taken off the streets, no matter where those streets happen to be.
Absolutely. And luckily, a lot of people have started to step up, so there's definitely some articles you can find that start to counter this this spin.
And there's also going to be a link to a group led by men to stop rape. So we want to leave you with the positive, which is that men can stop rape. And it's important that we all speak out. We can all do our part in making sure that rape ends. So I think that's it for this week. I think we've been sufficiently outraged. Hopefully we'll see you next week under better terms.